So this is the soldering iron that I normally use. It is the TS101 from Miniware. It's a pretty solid one. I don't recommend everybody get it. It's a little expensive. A cheapo one is totally fine if you're just going to do a couple of these. But if this is going to be a bigger hobby like it is for me, or even a profession like it is for me, I would get something better. Having nice tools can make your life so much easier. And I get really excited when I find new products to test out, like this, a dual wield soldering iron. I actually don't know what you should call this, but it is it's got tweezers and two ends for soldering. Why? Well, I've got a stack of Game Boys here, specifically SPs, that may have a couple of things wrong with them, but they all have an issue with the sound. It's quiet, so we need to replace these capacitors. So the easiest way to do that, to remove capacitors, is having solder being melted on both sides. And instead of just using my normal soldering iron to go over here and then over here and just quickly back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like I did in my GameCube video I posted not that long ago. I'll link that down below, maybe if I remember. I can use this to heat up both sides at the same time, and then I can remove it with tweezers, as long as I'm not holding it in my hand while I'm doing it. So we're going to test this out. It came with a bunch of stuff for some reason. I don't know. It's got this thing for tip cleaning, which is nice. I've got a much bigger one that I prefer to use, but that's cool if you don't have one of those already. It also has a sponge if you want that, because you can wipe it off if you wet the sponge. I don't see the need for both. This was like 25 bucks or something like that. It was really cheap. I also got another tool that I'll try out later in a separate video, but not this one. I do wish that they would have had like this be at the end, so when you like put it in like that, it would just automatically clean it. I know that there's some soldering iron holders that do that. I also don't really like that it's made of metal, because the whole thing's just going to get hot. But either way, it's nice. This is not on yet. You have like a little knob to like keep it tighter if you want to just always have it maximum at this width, I guess is the right measurement there, which is like, that is perfect for that capacitor. So I'll leave it there, but it's annoying because you can't lock this in, and I don't really want to pinch it. I can see some use cases where that's helpful, but in the use case that I'm going to have, it's not going to be useful. So I don't know how to hold it without like pinching that without holding it way back here, but we'll figure that out. Let's just give it a shot. There is an on-off way over. I can't, had to unplug it, but there's an on-off here. I don't know what this dial is. Is that just temperature, I guess? A temperature dial? Because we have like a readout here. We can put it in Fahrenheit or Celsius. I am American, so normally I would choose Fahrenheit, but I don't know what 300 degrees Celsius is in Fahrenheit. So let's turn this on. 200 degrees Celsius seems to be the base. That is as low as it goes. That's interesting. There is some very fine adjustment to this. So right here is 300 degrees Celsius. Interesting. It'd be cool if these actually meant anything, these numbers on this wheel, but they don't seem to mean anything. And all of the whatever coating was on this metal is burning off right now. That's nice. I'm going to put that part down, so we don't really need that here. It's also just so bulky. It makes me feel like I don't have a good grip on it. It makes me a little nervous, but we're going to put this here. It also came with like regular tweezers, which was cool. We'll zoom in a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. And I feel like I should put some flux down, because that is not really doing it. Maybe I could turn up the heat a little bit, but we'll just put some flux down. I guess I can also add solder, maybe. Be cool. Can I not add solder here? Can I add solder to the tip? Maybe find the sweet spot there. Okay. Whew. I feel like I need to just turn this up a little bit, so I'm going to do that. Go 325 on it. Hold it there, and yeah, I feel like I feel like this is not doing what it should be doing, because that should be melting really easily there. And I just can't get this to, I can't add solder. What's going on? Okay. Let's awkwardly try and add solder this way, maybe. Okay, that worked, but not really. It feels like the right side gets hotter than the left side. I feel like I need to be like more flat with it, but I can't really do that with all the components around. Maybe I'll adjust this out and do it by pinching it myself. Yeah, this is just not going how I planned at all. I am struggling to do this one thing. This should be lifting up with like no issues. I can't even like pinch it with the soldering iron and lift it. Am I ripping a pad? I have no idea. Dude, this sucks. This actually sucks. Am I doing something wrong? I don't know. I envisioned I was just gonna be able to go boop and lift up, no problem. But it's not the case here. I can't even tell if the solder is like flowing on this. Tell you right now, I'm melting the crap out of the plastic base. There we go. Oh my gosh, I did it. I've been recording for 11 minutes. The right side just doesn't want to work. The solder is just not melting over here at all. Do I need to turn up the heat again even more? Is it actually 325 Fahrenheit? That's Celsius. Okay, maybe I'll try like 400 on this next one. We're getting crazy. We're at 402. I am going to use some flux again. Try this out. There's not much solder on either of these sides. So let's just try and focus. Oh, that was a bad idea. Okay, I put some solder on my tips just in case. I know that's not like the best way to do it, but trying to add solder the right way is not really working either. Okay. And I kind of lifted that pad a little bit. It's fine, but that was actually much faster. Hopefully I'll edit that in real time, but whatever coating is on that soldering iron sucks. Oh, I melted part of this. Oh well, I'll sand that out. It's fine. I'll try it again. This one looks like I'm gonna have to replace everything if I'm gonna get it to work, so I'm not too worried about it. Maybe we'll try a different one because the solder looks bad. Another one that I'm gonna have to replace a lot of stuff on because we've got some rust and corrosion, but that's all right. I didn't go flux this time, but we lifted one side. It's just that the right side does not want to cooperate. The left side, easy, good, we're chilling. And again, it's not fully lifted, but it's starting to lift. I just don't think the right side is good. It also like when you pinch it, the right side goes on top. Oh, I can like kind of force it to be even. It's hard to see on camera, but if I'm just like normally pinching it in the middle, the right side goes on top of the other. But if I pinch it from like the bottom, I can make it pinch next to each other. I don't know. I was excited for this at first, but like, I don't know. Let's try sheathing this here. Okay. It's still on right now. And like you can pinch it to fit it in there all the way, but it still makes me nervous. Just go ahead and turn that off real quick because I'm done with it for now. But it does have other tips. I don't know, that doesn't feel that different, but I wonder if I could, instead of pinching them together like this, make it so they pinch together like this. That might be a little hard, but I feel like the flatter part touching down onto the spots that I need to would be more beneficial than doing it as like a pointy, like Mr. Crab hands. I don't know. I'll mess around with it. This is definitely not the end of the video. I mean, you probably know that by now, but I'm going to try this again later with some game cubes because those have a lot of capacitors. That's a bit of a more open space too. So I'll be back in a minute. For you, it's 2 seconds though. So we're going to try removing these capacitors. I did do a little adjusting to this dual wield soldering iron. I'll show you in a second. I also need to remove these 2 wires, so we'll see how well this works. To start, we're slowly crawling up to 400 degrees Celsius. I know that's a bit hot, but that was where I set it to actually get it to melt the solder. So we're now at 400 degrees. So I am going to, they're still too far apart. That's funny. Okay. I will have to go one at a time, I guess. It still does work as a single soldering iron. I would not want to use this as my only soldering iron, that's for sure. Now we can get rid of the whole rest of that assembly. But this has got a ton of capacitors at different sizes, so I think this will be good. And honestly, this is why I wanted to get this soldering iron in the first place, was so I could remove these hopefully faster. Placing them down is not so bad, but removing them is kind of a pain in the butt. So do that. Okay, not bad. You know what? That was actually pretty painless. Oh yeah, I should probably explain what I did. I adjusted the tips so they're angled more down, but that does make it so they are farther apart and they don't really tweeze together. But I'm also not planning on lifting any of these things, any of the components with these. I don't want to actually use these as tweezers. I just want to solder or desolder both sides at the same time. There we go. Now we're better in focus. And we've got flux on all of the components, all the capacitors that I'm trying to remove. We're going to carefully heat this up. It is very hard to tell if I'm in the right spot, but okay. Now we're cooking. Ooh, that didn't feel great when it lifted, but it did not tear anything. So that's good. A little bit of a struggle. Oh, I'm not on camera, but I did struggle a little bit on this one right here. But again, it's still not lifting anything. All right, we'll make sure we're in frame for this one because I think this one's pretty important. There's a cluster of capacitors right here. So does this make it any harder? Wow, that was literally the easiest one yet. Oh my gosh, I am cooking with gas now. Okay, that one was a little tougher. This one makes me a little nervous because there's a lot of resistors and like mini ceramic capacitors. I think they're ceramic capacitors. I don't know. So I don't want to like accidentally knock anything. But yeah, the hard part is not being able to tell if the solder is actually flowing or not. But I'm giving it little wiggles back and forth to see if it's actually moving or not. If the solder is flowing on both sides and you're not like pinching the pins of the capacitor down, it's going to come right off. There should be no resistance. So I just adjust. Still a little resistance. I think it's because the left side. It still would be nice and helpful if I added solder to both sides, but this is just like a little bit harder to actually add solder with this soldering iron. But I'm still able to like just do one side if I need to. That one was not the best one. That was probably the worst one. But was this actually any faster? All right. All of those were removed fairly fast, I feel like, but was it really that much faster to remove these this time around? I don't know. All right, let's give another SP a shot here since I've adjusted this. Go to both sides here, add a little flux, and let's get a little bit center here. Heat those sides up and wiggle, wiggle. No. I'm going to add a little bit of solder to both of these tips here. That did work. The pads didn't come off, but it didn't feel smooth. I want to try it again. I just have a stack of SPs that need these replaced. So yeah, it's just the GameCube. It kind of just flew, but I don't know. I'm struggling more with the SPs. It's also a lot more going on around here. It's a little bit of a tighter board, but I don't know. Oh wait, that's why I'm struggling. The freaking soldering iron went to sleep. Why? Why did it go to sleep? I can't really show you because it's not really easy to move. But the thing just went to sleep. Why? Okay. Well, now we're back up to temperature. That was still not very smooth though. That took a while. We got one more we can try. I'll give it one more shot here. Make sure we're not on sleep. Nope, we're still good. Put some of that on there. Move the volume slider up just in case. Okay. Heat it up. Wiggle, wiggle. Yeah, it's still just harder for the SP there. Maybe if you have a more open board like this, it's not so bad. I was able to hit the sweet spot a bit. Maybe these capacitors on this board just have like more pad for the solders to touch. I don't know. Should you pick up this soldering iron? Probably not this one. This one seems pretty cheap and bad. I don't know what high quality ones are out there, but it sure is an interesting product. I will probably try it more with these, but for other capacitors, I think I'll just stick with my handy dandy soldering iron, even though it's annoying to go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth on both sides of it. This ultimately doesn't save me that much time. There's a lot less versatility with this. So, yeah, maybe with the GameCubes, since there's so many of them, and it did seem to go maybe a little faster, but not gonna be a mainstay on the table. Like, I don't even want to attempt to place capacitors with this. I feel like that would just be such a pain in the butt. So I'll stick to using this occasionally for removing things and using my regular soldering iron for everything else. All right, that's it.